Okay, welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoy your lunch, right? Okay, in the afternoon session, the topic is global Englishes, global citizenship development, and teacher education. So once again, let's have a round of applause for Professor Fang for this afternoon workshop.
Thank you so much. Glad that we are back here. So this afternoon, I will talk about global citizenship education in the first session, and then following by the global Englishes, teacher education. So I hope that we just don't simply talk about the framework of global English's challenging native ideology, but now hopefully we look at something in study in our daily life related to, for example, citizenship, education through EMI. So this is also a project that Will Baker and I conducted, that Professor that Will Baker was doing as principal investigator, and I just worked with him. Okay, so then we just developed this into a report and also a journal article that I'll share with you later. Okay. So I'll start this presentation and also like workshop. I hope that we have some time to discuss as well. Internationalization and the role of English, followed by a bit of the connection of English as a lingua franca, global citizenship, and higher education. Okay, after the discussion, I will present my study and some of the findings and implications. Before I start, again, I will just briefly talk about the term global citizenship. And this term has been used interchangeably with intercultural citizenship in the study. Yeah, because during the study, some students, some participants were not really familiar with intercultural citizenship. Then we just use the term global citizenship and global citizenship, intercultural citizenship, in a more like interchangeably way. So again, the background information, we see internationalization, the process of integrating an international, intercultural, or global dimension in the purpose, functions, or delivered of higher education at the institutional and national levels. So many universities nowadays claim themselves as being an international university. So they attract, for example, international students and also international faculty members. And they also encourage international publications, right? In a sense, that the university will gain more funding and then will attract more international students with the tuition fee, et cetera, et cetera. So this is type of internationalization in higher education. So also expanded rapidly in recent years with double the number of international students as a decade ago. So many students now study in study abroad. So we were interested in this concept of global citizenship, and we were interested in whether study abroad, mainly in EMI context, right? So even regardless, like UK, US, this is EMI context. And even in Thailand, we've got the EMI context as well. So for students may study in the non-traditional English-speaking countries, whether study abroad will bring them a kind of enhancement of their intercultural global citizenship awareness. So we were interested in this. And also, I don't know if you are familiar with UNESCO's response. UNESCO's agenda here think this link is not working anymore. So I think we need to update this one. Okay, anyway. So I think they changed the website, but still the UNESCO response to this global citizenship, this empowering learners of all ages to understand that these are global, not local issues, and to become active promoters of more peaceful, tolerant, inclusive, secure, and sustainable societies. Let me try to search. It should be working here. So if I try to share this screen here, we'll see UNESCO's slogan and also UNESCO's Institute for Lifelong Learning. They just encourage citizenship education. Okay, it's not a bit slow. So we see that has included in this renewed focus on citizenship education with a particular emphasis on, you see here, global citizenship education. So it's a strategic area of UNESCO's education program, So if you're interested, yeah. And also here, I think they changed the website as what we mentioned here, some of the keywords, okay, become from proactive contributors to a more just, peaceful, tolerant, inclusive, secure, and sustainable world. All right. So I'm not going through everything in detail, but again, the global citizenship and peace education here. All right. So that is this kind of promotion. Yeah. Okay. So we understand whether study abroad, students study abroad experience and students' English language level will help them develop this awareness. Because again, that is the meaning of education, right? Yeah, I think I talked about this already, the complexity of English, and this is the reference. Okay, it's here. So you're interested in, that is the paper. I'm not going to repeat. So culture and language in ELT. So we see the key approaches that now we don't really view culture as something fixed, as a property or as entity. We really need to have a dynamic, fluid perspective to view culture, to look at culture. So language teaching and learning as a cultural process. All right. So we really look at the process, or we also see culture as a discourse, culture as a social practice. So I don't emphasize here, but still, this is how we view culture from the perspective of English as a lingua franca or global Englishes, and also intercultural communicative competence and critical cultural awareness. If you are familiar with Baker's model of intercultural communication, right? He published a paper in ELT Journal where he proposed 3 different stages of cultural awareness. Yeah, then I think I propose level 4 based on the study, based on his paradigm, and I'll show you later. I propose another level, but that's not published yet. But I think, yeah, and again, with Will Baker's paper related there, we could publish a paper. So I think it's just summarize the level 4 stage. So this global citizenship, global awareness, right? So English as a global language, we see this transnational and transcultural flows. Again, Will Baker, and also another Japanese colleague, Tomo, they also publish transcultural awareness, transcultural education. I think the new book was out with Routledge. If you're interested in not only trans language but also transcultural, not only translingual, but transcultural. Now it seems that this trans prefix, has become very popular. That we don't really view culture as fixed, and even not about cultural comparison, but culture is beyond description in that sense. So here they say, Will Baker's argument that given the vast majority, the vast number of ELF users who communicate with each other, it is hard to see the relevance of native speaker target communities to their communicative practices. So intercultural awareness does not deny that national cultures and native, other, and foreign dichotomies may exist in participants' approaches to intercultural communication. Yeah, it's there, it exists, but it is necessary to recognize that equally they may not, and to fully understand complexity of intercultural communication, it is necessary to go beyond such dichotomies. So I think in our minds, we talk about native, non-native, we talk about us and other, we talk about home and foreign, of course. It's there, the terms are there. But I think more importantly, as individuals, when we communicate with people from various, cultural backgrounds and through various languages, translanguaging whatsoever, we have this awareness that it should go beyond these dichotomies. Yeah, that's why this morning the textbook still, I think, is very limited, that we all argue, okay, to go beyond these dichotomies. So the intercultural dimension is as one of the major features of internationalization. So students in international higher education programs are often expected to improve their intercultural competence and to develop an identity as an intercultural or global citizen. Yeah. Again, I would say that global citizen is not a way of enforcement. Of course, because I'll show you some of the data that some students say, I don't want to be a global citizen. Yeah, because I will go back home after study abroad. I don't want to communicate with people from different countries. I just want to live myself. So sometimes some people really reject this identity. But for some people, they really welcome their identity being a global citizen or global intercultural citizen. Then that's why we conducted this research. And intercultural citizenship is typically viewed as the extension of citizenship. Yeah, we don't just show about which nationality or the passport, things like this. But in intercultural communication, it actually goes beyond national borders through recognition of the global scale of social relations, the need to respect and value diversity that's go beyond language level, but also cultural level, behavior level as well. Okay, and participation in and responsibility to communities at multiple levels, from the local to the global. And again, we use Michael Byram's definitions. We adapted Michael Byram's definition here of what intercultural, what global citizenship education is. What's the difference, especially between intercultural communication, intercultural awareness, and intercultural citizenship? What's the main difference between intercultural communication and intercultural citizenship? Have you got any ideas on that? Because I think we are more familiar with intercultural communication, right? Uh-huh. Okay. Any other comments? Bro. Identity. Yeah. Good. Good points. Well, Michael Byram's understanding and his definition, the main difference is that when we talk about intercultural communication or intercultural awareness, it's more like at knowledge level. Yeah, what kind of intercultural knowledge, that you have and whether you raise this awareness, even you go out to communicate with people, okay? You have this awareness, you have got certain knowledge. But citizenship, intercultural citizenship, focuses more on action, change, okay? Social engagement. That's the main difference where Byram's explanation is. So here, two aspects of intercultural citizenship. The first one is causing, facilitating intercultural citizenship experience. Okay, so I thought it's a comment now. So it's causing, facilitating intercultural citizenship experience and analysis and reflection on it and on the possibility of further activities. So action. So activity that involves working with others to achieve an agreed end. Number two, creating learning and change. So something is not about learning, knowledge, intercultural communication, but creating change, because you may view yourself, other people may view you as part of the citizen of the globe, global citizen, intercultural citizen. So the change in individual, so cognitive, attitudinal, behavioral change, change in self-perception, change in relationships with others, people of different social group, and change that is based in the particular but is related to the universal. So here, action, change is important. They are the key components of intercultural citizenship. And again, why were we interested in EMI, English instruction, English medium instruction, and intercultural global citizenship education through study abroad? Is that basically we were interested to see how social engagements, how those activities, to what extent do students participate in activity, in social engagement during their study abroad experience? Or if they go to the UK, if they go to the US to study, or if they just lock themselves, okay, in the room to study and just go out to the class, go back to the room, go out to the class, go back to the room. Okay, in that sense, they may not, develop this awareness, this sense of social engagement and social change. And whether their English level has been improved is also a myth. We never know, right? So I think at the end, I'll show you that study abroad experience does not, directly link to the improvement of English level, okay? Or maybe we study in Thailand, then you may improve your English, but not improve your Thai, right? Even, yeah, with the EMI, yeah. Okay, that's Byram's model. So that is back in 2008. And this is a new edition of Byram's book called Teaching and Assessing Intercultural Communicative Competence Revisited. This is the second edition, published, I think, in 2021. Yeah. So this is a brief introduction. Yeah, I just read it because I quoted that the revised edition of Michael Byram's classic 1997 book updates in text in light of both recent research and critiques and commentaries on the first edition, beginning from the premise that foreign and second language teaching should prepare learners to use a language with fluency and accuracy, and also to speak with people who have different cultural identities, social values, and behaviors. The book is an invaluable guide for teachers and curriculum developers, taking them from a definition of intercultural communicative competence, where it's a 1997 book. Yeah, Byram developed this model of intercultural communicative competence, ICC, yeah? But here, through planning for teaching to assessment. This edition refines the definitions of the 5 savoirs of intercultural competence and includes new sections on issues such as moral relativism, and human rights, mediation, intercultural citizenship, and teachers' ethical responsibilities. So we see that now we talk about culture and intercultural communication. It's not only knowledge, not only awareness, but go a step further to understand this moral relativism, human rights, medication. I see here it's more like the social responsibilities and social engagement, right? We also talk about this whole person education. We also talk about inclusive education through, intercultural citizenship, through global citizenship. And also from a teacher's perspective, ethical responsibilities, especially today with AI. I think those issues have become more important, right? So for you, your turn, the discussion activity. So I think, yeah, just like you have study abroad experience, I think we've got international students. And like yesterday, I had a poll that people have study abroad or living abroad experience. So to what extent do you believe that your study abroad experience or just travel abroad as well have enhanced your awareness of intercultural competence? Yeah, because here I don't mention intercultural citizenship. If you just come here for 1 year, or if I just travel abroad for 10 days, it's very difficult when we talk about intercultural citizenship. Yeah, so I just put intercultural competence. But if you study in Thailand for 5 years, for example, we can talk about intercultural citizenship. If you study, yeah, you can talk about citizenship because it's different. You are growing up, not as this awareness, but I think you are part of this society already, yeah? So to what extent do you think you have developed as global citizen? Second one, to what extent do you believe that study abroad or living abroad is the only way for a person to develop to be a global or intercultural citizen? Why or why not? I give you about 10, 15 minutes that you can share with each other. And for people online, also feel free to comment on the chat box. Yeah. Okay. Let's try to share ideas. Yeah, at least each group, because I think it will be very interesting. Not from me, but from you. You can have one representatives per each group.
Okay, we can start first.
Yeah, you start first.
Okay, so in our group, right?
You can be the chair. Otherwise, when the chair, people just don't want to share. You'll be the chair. Then you share. Then you just guide people. I just comment, maybe listen. You'll be the host.
Yeah, so in our group, like both of us have been to the US before, and it's a very good experience that we get to learn different culture, especially in the states that I went. I've been to Texas in the United States, and there are lots of ethnic group in Texas. You got to see white people, African people, or even Mexican people. And I get a chance to enter the church community. And I can see that people from different culture, they blend together very well. And we get a chance to like absorb some kind of their culture, their reaction, the way they speak, the way they treat people. So that's a very good experience. If you have like the opportunity to go abroad, be like be more aware or try to notice many things, maybe you can learn something. And like the two handsome boy here, some of them are going to visit China and Philippines, right? And I believe that when he go there, he can notice that the culture of Chinese people and Filipinos people that might be different, even though we are Asian country, okay? But deep into our like root or origin, there's something different. Okay. And to answer the second question, to what extent do you believe that studying abroad is the only way? One of our group members think that it may not be the only way because right now the world has become globalized. So we can get to know more culture from the video. But if you want like the hands-on, the really real experience, it's a good chance for you to travel abroad. Maybe you don't have to live there, but just go on a trip, okay? And you can learn something. And that's the way to like make yourself more globalized and become the global citizens.
Thank you. Thank you. Really, yeah. Experience it also very important, right? Sometimes you hear from people, you discuss from people, if without really living or studying there, some may not be true, right? I think, yeah, again, based on it. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I am from Myanmar. Actually, when I arrive, before I arrive in Thailand, I think that like maybe culture shock, maybe challenging for me. Actually, when I arrived, like when I already arrived here, I have to communicate before with Thai people and also Thai students. So at this time, like I can communicate with them easily. This sure that I think my intercultural competence increased just a little, and after moving around with them and also learning with them in the classroom and also outside the classroom, I think like my intercultural competence raise a little to a certain extent, not full extent, because I just live only just 3 weeks. Yeah, this is why. And also, I when I arrived there, I remind myself that, I think globally, not locally, because now I'm just studying abroad. Yeah. For the second question, to be the global or intercultural citizen, I think studying abroad is not the only gateway to be like that. Because, even in our own country, we can communicate with other international people, not only in university, but also in other workload areas. And also this might be like enhancing our intercultural competence. Yeah, that's all from me.
Okay, any other group? Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mandy. Okay, I'm right now a Chinese teacher in Thailand, right? In one of the universities in Thailand. And I also do my PhD in English language, like applied linguistics and language pedagogy. So according to my experiences, I study in Thailand for master degree and right now the PhD. So I noticed like the different people, even we are in the Asian culture, but we are totally different because I can see and observe the people who, especially Thai people, let's say Thai people first, they are very polite. And every time we see each other, we need in our Chinese culture, we don't do like that. Normally, we just see people, hi, just like this, okay, then go. But in Thailand, we need to be polite. We always to be like, whenever we meet anyone, and when we speak something, we should be very careful what we are gonna say, we cannot say. Another thing I noticed is about the power. Like, we cannot tell something to the leaders who are not the direct leaders of us. We need to tell the direct leaders cannot transcend him or her to tell another leader, who is superior than her. And people don't know this. One of my Chinese friends, she just talked to the big leaders. Then she get in trouble. Then the young leaders gonna have a beef with her all the time, you know. And before I don't know that. And later I noticed this culture awareness and experiences, and I know I can talk to different people from different groups. For example, Filipinos and British guys and Africans, even Myanmar and the Vietnamese, we are totally different. And I have one of my classmates who is Myanmar monk. And he said, we cannot stand together and taking a picture because he's a monk. And he even will take a picture, should be secretly, I cannot post it. Otherwise, he gonna get in trouble, you know? So it's like, I notice the differences between these cultures. So I know I should be very careful when dealing with these people. And I think my intercultural competencies developers by dealing with these people, because I find before I was quite conservative. But later, when I interact with many people, I feel more open-minded. I feel more confident and can talk with others, talk to professors, talk to everyone like equally. Yeah, not like because you are my supervisor or you are my professor, so I should be very shy and intimidated. So that's what I noticed for my own development. Yeah, okay, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, and one thing that I like can digest from her is that when you learn the intercultural communicative competence, sometimes you need to like make mistake first in order to learn it, or sometimes you have to experience the culture shock in order to learn it, but you're gonna remember it forever, right? So that's the process of learning. Don't be afraid of mistake. Okay, any other group? The last group here on site, and then we're gonna go online.
Oh, I've been nominated again. Yeah, so I live in the UK and Sweden and elsewhere for many years. During that time, I've been very active. I've been participating in NGOs such as Amnesty International. I was involved with community mediation to help resolve disputes, etc. So I learned the sort of subtle nuances, and as many of us have pointed out, there are different cultures and subcultures. So for me, I had to be aware. I was living in Scotland for a while. I didn't know what they were saying. Yeah, I studied in Leeds. And from Leeds, I went to London. There are about 2 hours difference. And I learned that there are 4 different types of words for bread. They can be babs, rolls, buns, and something else. So there is so much things to observe and learn. Thank you very much.
Okay, are there any group of people online would like to share?
Well, I think I can share a little bit. I also have the experience, like,
Someone online, right? Can you speak a little bit louder?
yes, I can. Actually, I feel that you actually have to live in that country to become like a global citizenship and to really, really understand their culture. Because if you just read from the textbook, or if you read or from the news or on social media, you won't really be able to fully understand what is their thinking style, what is their lifestyle. That's just really my point that I wanted to add in. So I agree that you kind of need to live in their you need to be involved with their society to understand them as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Any more comments? And then I can share with you like my recent observation in Thailand as well. Yeah. Because yeah, when I was in the UK and I also traveled to other places, I experienced some of like various culture shock, and also I learned a lot from various experiences. But recently in Thailand, I just observed like 2 aspects, something that I never really thought about. And the first one is we went to the shopping mall, yeah, with another professor, and we could not find a parking space. What do you normally do? We just cannot find a parking space there because it's Friday night, very crowded. Oh, it's not a Friday, it's a Thursday night, but it was very, very crowded. And basically, the professor just parked the car and maybe just in front of other cars. And then we left. I was thinking, oh, what would you do? Maybe he would just keep the key to another security, or maybe he will put a note of the phone number. And when people will go out, but we can call the person, right, to move the car. But actually, when we finished the dinner, we just went to the parking space. I said, wow, your car got moved. And say, oh, how come? Who moved your car? You still keep the key, right? Is that very common in Thailand? Then, oh, he told me you didn't know when you park the car in this the neutral, this put on the end, right? The neutral brake, the neutral one, and people is get blocked. People can just move the car. I said, whoa, this is my culture shock. Have you seen this in China? No. In other countries? No. Right? Because normally we just put a notice, your phone number, and people can just call you. But sometimes because you will stay very far away, sometimes it's 1 hour and then you still get blocked. You cannot still move the car. Sometimes people just call another number and they receive a message saying that your car is there blocking the way of other cars. And sometimes as the driver, we can wait like 1 hour or so. We still, because you are far away. But something here, you can move other people's car. Very interesting. It's true, yeah, it's very interesting. It's one of culture shock. And another culture shock is that we visited this university in the evening, at night, maybe 8:30 or something. And we saw a security in front of the building, in front of each building. There is a security there. There is a guard there. And the professor told me that in Thailand, there is a security for 24 hours in each of the building. Yeah, I think this is another culture shock, right? And he stayed outside of the building. outside of the building. Yeah, I think is it really in Thailand or some other country? I haven't seen this for security doing 24 hours outside of the building, not inside of the building, but outside of the building. Yeah, and in each building, like in China University, normally they will just have a security in front of the main entrance, the main gate. There will be 24 hours shifting security. But here in each of the building, there is, I think, yeah. So that's my experience. Again, it's part of the culture shock to me. It's very good, I think, but people work very hard. But I just asked the question, do they sleep? Yes, right? But do they sleep inside the building or outside of the building? I don't know. Do they sleep inside of the building or outside of the building? Depends, right? In the gate, yeah. But outside, right? Yeah. Yeah. But this is not the main culture shock. I think the main culture shock is that people can move your car. If they get blocked when you park your car in the neutral, right? People can even move your car. And that's magic. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Motorbikes is okay. It's understandable. We move motorbikes everywhere, right? It's easy. But even the car, yeah. Right, that's something I first learned is I've been to Thailand several times and people drive something like that. But this was the first time that we could not find a parking space. And the first time the driver really parked the car using this neutral, the neutral, and the car got moved. Very interesting. Okay. There's nothing about language, but I think still, if we see this from a semiotic, multimodal perspective, this is also language. Anyway, so the study we conducted here, we also, the background, the rationale is the increasing prominence of intercultural dimension to internationalization of higher education. And one of the key ways in which this has been conceptualized is through the notion of learners developing a sense of intercultural or global citizenship in both language teaching and higher education. Beyond policy and marketing documents, there is still little empirical evidence because in terms of policy, right, it's written policies, internationalization, also marketing. Yeah, little evidence detailing the extent to which students actually develop a global intercultural citizenship identity as a result of study abroad and its links to EMI and the English language, whether the role English play would really facilitate people's global citizenship development identity through people's study abroad experience. And also the linguistic dimensions of global citizenship have always been ignored or marginalized. Okay. So that's the background. Yeah, some of the studies, I just skip this. Yeah, if you're interested in, you can read the background information. So the study, it's a British Council funded project. Yeah, so we observe students both in China and the UK. The UK only because the British Council funding would really ask the researchers to conduct students, the cohort of students in the UK. So the Chinese graduate students in a range of subjects before, during, and after study abroad. Yeah, so this, when I present this one, I always share the limitations of the study. So the British Council funded project only allows us to complete within 1 year. Then originally, we thought that it would be a very good idea to trace the group of students before, during, and study abroad, the same cohort of students. But the funds only allowed us to finish, to complete within 1 year. So we collected this group of data through different students. So we were not able to trace students before, during, and study abroad. Instead, it's 3 different cohorts of students. Yeah, with this questionnaire. So we had before, during, and after study abroad with this number, and also conducted focus group studies. Okay, so that's how we analyze the data. So the research questions, 4 research questions. So what are Chinese university students, sojourners' experiences of ELT preparation in relation to EMI study abroad and intercultural citizenship? Number 2, what are students' experiences of English use and intercultural communication in their EMI study abroad programs? Number 3, what are students' understandings of intercultural citizenship? What are students' perceptions of the links between English language and intercultural citizenship? Number 4, in what ways, if any, do students, sojourners develop an awareness of intercultural citizenship and an identity as an intercultural citizen as a result of their study abroad programs? Okay. So some of the data here I'll share with you. So the first one here, that, okay, they study to learn, they try to learn something, find something about common life before study abroad, right? Yeah, and also on the website, and some information from my friends they used to learn in the UK. And also IELTS. My teacher told us to forget about all IELTS in our first, that's during study abroad, to forget about IELTS in our first pre-sessional class. Yeah, it's very interesting that according to my experience, when writing academic papers, the teachers did not focus on grammar, but your critical thinking. For the intercultural education, we see that students really did not have this opportunity, especially before their study abroad, right? Yeah, so this one, I was in China at university, we had a course, but here it says, I didn't listen carefully. It's a course, our professor shared his experience with us, and we also write assignment in Chinese. Second question, we see the role of English. I thought I would see my English every day. I thought I would use my English every day, but to be true, the truth is that the reality is different. So it's a kind of, I share the house with my friends, and all of them are Chinese. Yeah, because we just transcribe using their own words, right? So you don't need to speak English every day. If you don't work with the foreign English people, okay, almost one guy, he's also Chinese. If I work with him, I don't need to speak Chinese. So the whole day, I wouldn't use any English. Yeah, this is a student who studied MSc in accounting finance. My English didn't improve because I seldom speak English in my daily life. Okay, what the lecturer says, and I can do academic reading, I can do academic writing, but I don't have friends speak English. Another student there, yeah, I can standard evaluate my English. Okay, sit in the pub with other English native speakers like you, because that one was interviewed by Will Baker. Yeah, or other students to drink beers and chat for more than 2 or 3 hours. I think that's the way to evaluate our English is perfect, but not in the academic. So also MSc, that what ways did they offer help? Because we're also investigating the academic helps for students in EMI program, language help. So what ways did they offer help? Yeah, from academic writing formats and structure, more grammar and format, but less structure, because we did not share the same major. So intercultural experiences, I attended a group with some Chinese students and some students from other countries like Jordan and an English boy from Scotland. They've got share, right? They experience opinions organize my sentences before speaking. So students do feel pressured here. I was afraid that they can't understand what I'm saying, right? They're all friendly. Okay, we did a good job at that time. So we see still English is a lingua franca. People focus on the content more than the grammar, the language itself. International communication is not necessary. If I can do very well in my class, I don't need to much about intercultural skills, right? So some students really focus on the academic learning as well. This one is an understanding of intercultural citizenship and the English and intercultural citizenship, the link as well. So very simple is that intercultural citizenship, yeah, students have not heard of this term, right? No idea about this, even for global citizen, yeah. But I think in university, people talk a lot, right? But in the UK still, those were based in the UK. They are conducting the study in the UK that time. Yes, some students, yeah, similar things. So what does it mean? Students says means you can move to other countries without culture shocks. Very interesting. Have you ever heard of the examples of a citizen, global citizen? Yeah, I think it means with the globalization, people from different countries, they have more chance to communicate, also to work, to study, the whole world, just like one country, one village, everyone like a citizen in one country. So much distinctive relation. Still, I would say in a very superficial way, right? Whether students want to become intercultural citizen, intercultural citizenship desire is that here sounds like, yeah, many experience, and which is you are maybe from different countries with different cultural backgrounds. Okay, they can have more knowledge that other people don't have, so this make them cool. Yeah. Another BA, this one is after study abroad. Female, yeah. Study abroad is quite short, and I heard that the coursework is still quite busy. So I don't think it is particularly important to be an intercultural citizen. Identification, so here, do you think you are a global citizen? Student says no. I'm too stick to Chinese culture because, you know, see, I only eat Chinese dishes in the UK. Must be very rich, yeah? And most of my friends are Chinese, Yeah, MA, another student says, this one said, yes, I think I'm a global citizen. So can you explain about that? I'm a native Chinese speaker. I have spent more than 20 years, right, Chinese education, but now in the UK on the new education system with people from other parts of the world. So I'm a global citizen. Again, yeah, in a sense. Okay, actually now maybe after 4 years I could be that. Okay, this is a PhD first year student. I may know a lot of friends and I could be a good global citizen, but not now, right? Yeah, not now because here, but just been here only for 2 months. I don't think I have strong relations in here. After 4 years, maybe really friends, real friends, so I may have a real experience. With the role of English and intercultural citizen, again, yeah. After improving my English, communication is the most important part in my mind. If your English isn't good enough, you can't learn much from people from other countries. So this person will still believe that English is the most important part to be a global citizen. Yeah, so this one, you can work everywhere and go, yeah, if I know English or other kind of world language, I can work everywhere. I can live everywhere in the world. I think maybe it should be part of language teaching. So here, I will, maybe English China in China, English teacher in China. Yeah, the grammar mistakes anyway, grammar, but we just use this, So you are in class, you can talk about some like globalized citizenship. Yeah, we really want to respect the students, our words. So we just kept this transcript the old way. We just didn't correct any grammar, So it's important to language, to be a global citizen. Language is important. That is a conditional to be a global citizen, Language, so students will still believe, If you want to improve your education quality, we need to be at least have some like global citizen, the idea to survive. So this is about intercultural citizenship and general education. And this one is not about language, it's about the whole world. So the last question is the identity, just part of the result of this program. The students that after study abroad, right? Global citizen here, I'm not like a unique culture identity, So intercultural citizenship is important because you are promoting a humanistic, holistic education, how to be polite, how to be courteous, how to be more adaptive. I understand that there are more than one dimension to a question, and you can think from different perspectives. And also, students start to engage, right, with social issues as well. So students talk about pollution. We should not only care about our country, but the whole world, right? But still not actions anyway. I don't think I'd like to know about human rights, but like pollution, like environment, I'd like to know more about that. But at this moment, students still keep themselves only in the classroom, not really go out for activity-based. And this one says you can learn to understand their lifestyle, make friends. So I had a local classmate. There is church culture. Also, happy there's visited a British family, similar to the experience, the church culture. I can communicate with the local people. This one, I joined a golf club, also in Winchester, another rich guy, I think. A female, a lady, So, so kind of to interact with local people. But also found the rejection of intercultural citizenship. So this one, the student says PhD even, I still don't think it's really important to me right now. Eventually, I will come back to China and it's enough. And this one says, I prefer to live in a pure culture, but not a global citizen. Rejection. I'm a Chinese. When viewing from my cultural origin, you will find that Chinese students are not able to mingle with other people. Again, from this perspective, I think the basic reason, if we chase the root, is because of cultural disapproval. That is, you cannot accept a different lifestyle. Very interesting, So actually, this is a report. It's free downloading, so you can find this report yourself. And we also turn this to a journal article. So a quick summary is that the superficial understanding of intercultural citizenship, language proficiencies and exposures may affect the development of intercultural citizenship. University education did not promote the awareness of diversity of English. With some implications here, intercultural citizenship education in English learning for higher education students should familiarize teachers and students with the extent of linguistic cultural diversity among English-speaking interlocutors. And the current version of English language education must be enriched by intercultural citizenship education, where more opportunities for intercultural or even transcultural interactions could be offered within and outside class, and also to readdress the representation of E in EMI programs that are part of language learning and intercultural citizenship education. So a bit of the reflection again, I turn the floor to you, right? If you'd like to think about how does studying abroad impact your understanding of different cultures, how did you navigate language barriers or differences in English usage? What challenges did you face and how did you overcome them? How did your study abroad experience shape your identity as a global citizen? Something similar to what we've discussed. But anyone would like to share about the challenge that you have? I don't know if you live abroad, if you study abroad, have you encountered really like challenges or being mistreated well? I don't know. Any stories? Or do you need some time to share before we... Maybe I give 5 minutes. How you feel really shocked? How you encounter any challenges as well? And what changes have you made, if possible? Okay, 5 minutes for you.
to share before we take a break? Okay, which group would like to go first? Maybe we go by this handsome two student from Shantou University.
All right. Everyone, my name is Kun from Shantou University, and what I'm going to share is about my experience from my lecturer. He's come from the Britain, so he speak in British accent. So when he speak, instead of use like the T, it was voiceless alveolar stop. He used the voiceless alveolar tap. So like in the water, he used water or something like that. So the Thailand itself have like diplomatic relationship with American better than the British itself. So we are got used to like the American English more than British English. So when we have a test with him, which mostly like the interview or something like this, most of my friends getting lower grade because he cannot understand what he said or what he wants to convey to them. So this is the barrier of the language from my experience. And also with that person, he also studied abroad. So when he go to the different state, he tend to listen to dialects of languages. So he used to prepare himself by listening to the audio of American English for quite a lot. But when he actually go there, the language they use is not the same as he tend to prepare. So thank you.
Okay, the next group on site first. This group นะครับ
Okay. Okay. If I have talked with my friends, right, about the maybe let me read for the language barriers, right? Let me read my experience in China, right? When I first visit China, right, I accompanied my student for the summer semester, but it's very difficult for me to understand. But it's okay for the lecture, right? They speak English with me, but when the lectures were really busy, right? Okay, can you stay alone in the hotel and then can you buy food by yourselves? I said, oh, it's okay, right? I think it's not too difficult, right? Because at that time I think, okay, I can speak English, right? And then, but I got the opposite view because everyone speaks Chinese with me because look like Chinese. Actually, I'm from Chinese family, and they speak English Chinese with me. Ni hao. I know only ni hao. Okay, and then but at that time when I went to the restaurant, right? No picture, no images, just only the Chinese character on the menus. And then with the kitchen, and I look around, oh, no Thai people, no foreigner, only Chinese, right? But but it's okay. Okay, I can see, and I pinpoint out just randoms. Okay, okay. Luckily that I can the food that I order, I can eat. Yeah, this is a kind of like a language barrier, right? But now, when I come back and I um compare my situation to my student, right? When I teach my science students or my engineering student English, right? I know that how difficult, how can they afford, how to learn English, how difficult they think that. Yeah. And
So the intercultural communicative competence can become your survivor kit, right? And what you learn from there may be useful for someone else back at your hometown. Okay. Anyone would like to share from this side?
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Sweetie Jo, but you can call me Su. And I'm from Myanmar. So I've been here 2 weeks ago. Yes, as an international exchange student. So, for the first question, yes, as I'm an exchange student, so I have to deal with many international students from Philippines, Indonesia, and especially Thai students. So after that, I became realized and I have more ability to accept diversity, especially religions and their different behaviors, manners like that. Okay, for the second question, especially like I have a bit challenging language behavior for Thailand language. Yes. Okay, I'll tell you my own story. I think 1 week ago, I want to like food stall, and actually I want a piece of pork. I don't want to chop it. Okay, then, at first I tell them, one pork, please. Then they take it and they gonna chop it, and I said like that, no chopping, no chopping. They said like, huh? They already chop it. Yes. And I still have a lot of challenging for that language. And for the solution, I just solve it with my body language. And sometimes I use technology, especially Google Translation. Yes. For English language, I just promoting my English language, my skill to be better. Okay, for the last question, um, from these experiences are like it promote my ability to how to be harmonious with others, different kind of cultures, different kind of religions, and how to be adapt to them. And it also promotes my ability to negotiate with others. Yes, and in Thailand, I really love the fact that their obedience to the rules and disciplines. You know, I don't see any a piece of rubbish on the road. They're so clean, and also the campus, our KU campus is so clean. I love that fact. Yes. And they also love their king. Yes. Yes, that's all. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you can see that when she communicates, she didn't use only language, but also body language and the use of technology in the communication. This is what we have in this era that make our life easier. So this is some kind of competence in order to communicate. Okay. At the back. Okay.
Okay, my experience is first time when I study my degree in Monash University in Australia. Even I passed my TOEFL exam, a TOEFL test. During my time, there was no speaking test because we did the CBT, a computer-based test. Now TOEFL changed to IBT, right? I feel shy in the discussion in class, and I don't want to speak at all. And in international marketing class, the professor said that just speak it up. We will not assess your speaking at all or your grammar. We just want to see your idea. Okay, so that's why I have to, make friends with, many people like, from Philippines, from Malay, from Australian. So that's why I can improve my English at that time. Yeah, okay, so this is my story. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for on-site participant. Now we move to the online participants. Do you have anything to share?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm a Chinese student who study in Thailand. So I would like to share my challenge from the following aspects. The first one is the food. Second is the weather. The third one is life pace. Then, okay, let me begin from the first one is the food. Actually, the food from Thailand and China is different, especially when concerning the sweet. Because in my school canteen, most of the dishes, the chef will put the sugar in it. Even they fry the egg, they will put sugar. So for me, from the beginning, to order the dish is like a gambling because I'm not a diabetic, but I don't like to have that much sugar. To be honest, I'm not a sugar-free people, but I just don't want the food to be added a lot of sugar. So every time, yeah, but the method is I have to order and order again and again. I will know which dish has less sugar. So that's the method. One of my friends, she's from Nepal. She has more difficult when compared to me because for her, she's a Buddhism, and every time when she go to the restaurant or school canteen to order food, she has to use the translation application to tell the chef like she doesn't want the oil, no pork, no chicken, only rice together with egg. Actually, for the chef, it's a challenge as well because it's difficult to fry that egg without oil, right? So for her, it's quite challenging, you know. And the second one is about the weather. My hometown is located in it's the neighborhood city of Xirambana. Actually, it's quite near from Chiang Mai and Qinghai to Xirambana. The weather is quite similar, but for me, I still use a lot of time to get used to the weather here, especially now it's quite scorching. The raining sometimes it's raining dogs and cats. After the rain, it didn't cool down. It's just, oh my God, scorching again. Then the whole body is sweaty again and take shower every day. So I'm still on the progress of getting used to the weather here. This is second. I haven't got it done yet, get it used to it yet. Then the third aspect is the life pace. And in China, I think most of people are like with a high speed life pace. A good example is when people working in the street, everybody just like walking very fast. So when I'm here, from my friends and classmates, they told me, why you are worried? You look like worried about something. Why you are so hurry up? I think, just because different life pace, I need to calm down myself. I need to like slowly make it slowly a little bit sometime. That's the third part. And also another lifestyle, like I heard a story from one of my Thai friends when he was in China first time. He lived in the dormitory with the Chinese classmate. Then he found that the Chinese classmate didn't take off the shoes when went into the room, so he can't understand and he can't bear it. After I come to Thailand, I understand now because everybody take off the shoes before going to the room. Then I also do as the same. So just like the do as Romans do. So this is the third aspect. Anyway, yeah, I think in the cultural communicative competence is like the more exposure we have, the better we will be to be a citizen, good citizenship, to introduce our own culture, and also to know more about another people's culture, so that the people from all over the world can understand each other better, so that the world can be a better place. Reduce the misunderstanding, stereotyping, even discrimination. That's my understanding. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's give her another round of applause. Yeah, very good points. Okay. Yeah, but we realize that the pace, you are not only like a workaholic, but also a walkaholic. Just kidding, yeah. But it's a good experience that we also learn and from observing people. Yeah, very good.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay. Any more online or? Okay, okay. So we will just take a break for like 15 minutes. Yeah, we will come back at about at 3 o'clock. Okay. Okay, thank you. Let's move on. So I think we had like just discussed things like this. So hopefully after reflection in after class, you may think about, right? This is an action plan. We are not going to do this now, but you can like brainstorm practical steps that you can take to further develop the global citizenship skills, your global citizenship skills, and set goals for future study abroad experiences or language learning activities. Okay, I will summarize this by showing Baker's 3 levels of global intercultural awareness. So from cultural awareness to intercultural awareness. In level 1, this paper, where Baker proposed basic cultural awareness, a general awareness of the role of cultures on our own and others' communication. So here, culture is viewed from a kind of more fixed perspective, right? So similarities and difference from cultural comparison perspective. While level 2, advanced cultural awareness is the awareness of the complexity of cultures. Yeah, start to view it. Yeah, let me see. So the first level, here is easier for us to see. So culture is a set of shared behaviors, beliefs, and values. The role, culture, and context played in any interpretation of meaning and our own culturally induced behavior, values, and beliefs, and the ability to articulate this. Others culturally induced behavior, values, and beliefs, and the ability to compare this with our own culturally induced behavior, value, and beliefs. So in this way, culture is viewed, right, from a more fixed similarities and differences perspective. Level 2, this is the advanced level. So there's an awareness of the relative nature of cultural norms. Cultural understanding as provisional and open to revision. So it's more like, you see, multiple voices or perspectives within any cultural grouping. So not only like similarities and differences between these national cultures, but within, right, different cultural groupings, we see the multiple voices. We see Thai people, we see Chinese people, but within Thai community, within Chinese community, we have various voices, perspectives, and also individuals as members of many social groupings, including cultural ones. Common ground between specific cultures, as well as an awareness of possibilities for mismatch and miscommunication between specific cultures. Yeah, even right, people belonging to the same cultural groups may have this kind of mismatch, this type of miscommunication. So this is the second level, a detailed awareness of common ground between specific cultures, as well as an awareness of possibilities for mismatch, miscommunication between specific cultures. While the third level, the intercultural awareness. So this is an awareness of culturally based frames of reference, forms, and communicative practices as being related both to specific cultures and also as emergent and hybrid in intercultural communication. So we'll see here, from a more dynamic perspective, culture is like a discourse, it's fluid. Initial interaction in the cultural communication as possibly based on cultural stereotypes or generalizations, but an ability to move beyond this through. Yeah, that's why Will Baker, this was proposed by Baker in 2011. Later, he proposed the transcultural, right, understanding transcultural communication. So he also a capacity to negotiate and mediate between different emergent socio-culturally grounded communication modes and frames of reference based on the above understanding of culture in intercultural communication. So that is the third level intercultural awareness we see here. But if we link global citizenship here, right? I think based on the study that Baker and I, we were doing this, still we can see here, action, activity. So an awareness plus activity of community and societal responsibility, be able to observe and deal with emergent intercultural encounters with people from various linguocultural backgrounds. I try to summarize, from the project and from what we have conducted, what we have done. Construct and negotiate cultural identities, ideologies beyond viewing culture as nation-bounded, to challenge the culture ideals through various social actions, social engagements. Create opportunities for not only cognitive, attitudinal change, that's from Byron, okay, but also behavioral change to engage in various intercultural activities, and also self-reflection of home, local cultures for developing global citizenship. We cannot neglect our home culture, our local culture. That's why this morning, right at the end, when we talk about intercultural teaching, textbook, material development, for AI, I think the last question is, how about the Thai context, right? When we talk about intercultural communication. So again, I think we need to go out simply from classroom teaching, very traditional way of learning, to social engagement, social activity, right? How people really, this one is yawning as well. So how about this social engagement, activity-based? And then the last one is the idea of critical multilingualism, right? So critically examines how inequality and injustice are produced and perpetuated in relation to power and privilege. I think sometimes for intercultural communication, we encountered various kind of mistreatments, and also because sometimes people don't understand you, sometimes you just do not behave according to people's expectation. So it's not simply like a mistreatment or something, it might be misunderstanding, but something can be the power relationship and also privilege here. Explores a critical understanding of culture. It involves students in critical inquiry into how taken for granted knowledge, such as history, geography, and lives of other people, is produced, legitimated, and contested in power struggles. I think it's also very important. So how do people develop this critical cultural literacy as well to reconstruct local and target culture? Okay, is there a clear boundary of local or target culture in learning? Is there something called local or target culture? If yes, what are they? If no, how should we teach language as culture? Just quote it. Okay, and also language and culture as emergent. One should develop a capacity to negotiate and mediate between different emergent, socioculturally grounded communication modes and frames, as just quoted Baker here. So the last one is how we link to culture from a postmodern perspective. Kanagaraja, Pennycook have done things like linguistic cultural flows. Languages and cultures exist in complex relationship between individual, local, national, and transnational settings, transnational global settings. In the absence of a shared variety of English or an established cultural context, there has been a shift in emphasis to shared communication strategies, repertoires, and resources in which communicators expect and are prepared to negotiate variety. And also Cram's concept of symbolic competence, okay, of multilingual language users able to move between different discourse systems and communities and have a dynamic, flexible, and locally contingent competence, right? I think those can be act as some of the reflections. That if you're interested, I can share this one with you. So I think this is the first half of what I share, the intercultural citizenship. if we link to teacher education, I think that's the last bit I'd like to share is global English's teacher education. Share the story with you first, right? Yeah, this is an email communication I had with a Professor Kurt Kuhn, okay? So the crucial question might not be what comes after teacher training. Yeah, this global English is teacher education. How do we link this aspect? Because I think Professor Kurt Kuhn also found that we talk about teacher training a lot already, but it's not about what comes after teacher training. Rather, what does it involve in terms of both content and procedure, right? We need action, we need behavior. So quite often enthusiastic and seemingly highly engaged participants ask for trial courses on our Moodle platform. That's the Moodle platform. But in none of these cases, anything ever happened afterwards. When back home, they were swallowed up by their ordinary workloads and work routine. Okay, I think I also learned this. I think that's the reality. When we talk a lot, even after today, even after I repeated talking to some different groups, yeah, there is a need. We have various opportunities and challenges, and how as language teachers in the future, we promote this equitable multilingual education. People have done various cases. Yeah, but now I just say, it might be difficult because I've already talked about this. I just skip this bit. Yeah, the various aspects of GELT. Okay, and also I quote Ajahn Denchai. Yeah, there's Prof. Jandy's quote here. Let's see, well, how can I? Yeah, the diversity and complexity of the sociolinguistic reality of English leads to the need of instructional reform. Yeah, you want to take a picture and send it to him, yeah, maybe. To prepare students for the reality of English use outside classroom. And I also wrote another one with students that traditional teacher education programs have largely neglected the importance of incorporating global Englishes into language teaching, and they have not supported global Englishes informed teacher education programs. Yeah, we know that Ajahn Denchai is an expert in Thailand for global Englishes teacher education. Yeah, he recently published a book. I really recommend this one. Yeah, Global English's Teacher Education by Bloomsbury. So this is a very good book. Okay. So as I showed you this morning, right, this one is basically kind of a syllabus. And this morning we have already tried, so I'm not going to discuss this one, yeah? But we found another example of the European toolkit for schools. Okay, this one is the initial teacher education and continuing professional development of teachers, right? So according to the recent studies, there are several areas for which teachers say they have moderate or high need for CPD, continuous professional development, is teaching in multilingual and multicultural settings, like now in this classroom settings. Some of the most effective ways to implement CPD that also enhance collaborative cultures in schools are setting aside time and space for collective reflection and inquiry among teachers on ways to solve current problems, improve learning, strengthen the school climate, and exchange observations and experiences and views. Okay. I don't know if you're familiar with CELTA. Okay. CELTA or Delta, that's the certificate for like teacher training, the CELTA certificate. So the CELTA course syllabus and assessment we see here. For language analysis and awareness. The topic includes understanding key terminology used in English language teaching, apply this terminology in planning and teaching, demonstrating a working knowledge of English grammar, lexis, and phonology. So to some extent, a bit, right, very traditional. But at least we see that CELTA, this training certificate includes 1.5 varieties of English. I don't know in reality how well these aspects, the components have been, involved, engaged, implemented in the teacher training. But at least we see from the document, okay, varieties of English, understands the main ways that variety of English differ from one another, demonstrates awareness of the need for teachers and learners to make informed choices about language modes for teaching and learning, make practical use of this knowledge and awareness in planning and teaching. And also, very importantly, this idea of multilingualism and the role of first languages. So again, from multilingual, from translanguaging, from Global English's perspective, that we cannot just abandon our first language in learning, because our mother tongue or first languages can also be regarded as resources, not a hindrance, but a resource for communication, for learning, to understand other languages. So here, understand the kinds of language backgrounds that learners may come from. Respect, various resources, linguistic resources. Okay, whether your students are multilingual, monolingual, whether we speak standard way, non-standards, and how a learner's language background might influence the learning of English. Yeah. But we see this TESOL association at least is trying to do something. Okay. Are you familiar with this, the TESOL association? Yeah. They've got teaching English to speakers of other languages. They've got the statement of bilingual education, multilingual education. Yeah. So to some extent, I say that teachers are sandwiched between when they're performing teaching, because the policy, because the parent, because various needs. Yeah. Where barriers of global English is language teaching by Rose and Galloway, they proposed teacher beliefs, teacher education, teacher support and training. So where they argue that here, beliefs, teachers' cognition, the knowledge, beliefs, conceptions, and attitudes, what teachers think, know, and believe, and the relationships of these mental constructs to what teachers do in the language teaching classroom are shaped by their prior experiences, especially those related to their own learning experiences, and that they formed what type of English I should teach as well, right? So when the cognition pattern of a teacher is established, it will continue to play a vital role throughout the teacher's career. Very hard to change. So the teacher education, the programs, preparing teachers in primary, secondary, and tertiary levels, pre and in-service education. Okay, so here how Global English's teacher education can or might be able to challenge a fixed native-oriented approach. Also, I don't know how much institutional supports can be provided when they do teacher support, teacher training, because it's from policy, from curriculum reform. People also found this conflictive attitudes towards implementing global Englishes in their own teaching contexts. If teachers are trained, if teachers have this awareness of global Englishes, they are willing to incorporate global Englishes in their teaching. For example, so the conflict goes to what? Goes to top-down policy, because the assessment is very traditional way. The conflict can go to their parents because, hey, I want my children to reach IELTS 8, for example, right? In IELTS, we see a little bit now, IELTS start to include different varieties, different accents, right? But from a traditional perspective, why do we want global Englishes? Okay, because sometimes assessment and real life is not really connected. So again, the central concerns was how to deal with other stakeholders, including parents and policymakers. That's why I said teachers are in the middle sandwiched here. Very, very hard to say. Sometimes teachers, as teachers, they don't really earn a lot. We don't really earn a lot. Policymakers, they learn a lot. Parents, when they have money, they send their children to international schools. They also have learned a lot. So again, the teachers may encounter these difficulties, how to deal with this. And very often, there's little institutional support for training for language teachers as well. Lack of consistency. Okay, this is from my data. From my data that I interview teachers. The teacher says, when I played a difficult accent, my students would ask me to play an easier one next time. Students don't want to be exposed to easier accents either and ask me to play more challenging ones. So again, how to cater to different students' needs. Okay, so I then look for strange accent for my students. Another one says, I found that if students are willing to be exposed to different accents, I can look for accents for them. They discuss how they feel about being exposed to different accents themselves. Well, another teacher only to compare the difference of British American English. So that's why the lack of consistency as well. Okay. When I met a teacher from South Africa who had a strong accent when I was in New Zealand, I could hardly get what he meant. After a semester, I participated in different activities and met different people. I was invited to have dinner with them. I was then exposed to various accents diversity. Back to my old teaching in China, I encourage my students to be confident to their own accents, to express themselves. So that goes back, to the teacher cognition. Based on the past experience, the teacher raises awareness of this. Okay, so the gap is here. I'm not going to read. Okay. This is the TESOL statement, as I just mentioned. The teachers of English to speakers of other languages. There is a position statement against discrimination of non-native speakers of English in the fields of TESOL. Even in US, I don't know if you realize there was a debate in Arizona, state of Arizona, I think passed this policy to just expel the teachers who cannot speak like native English accents. So the teachers in the States could not find a job because of their accents. Yeah. So later people have petitioned, people have lots of so this is the position statement. For decades, there has been a long-standing fallacy in the field of English language teaching that native English speakers are the preferred teachers because they are perceived to speak unaccented English, understand and use idiomatic expressions fluently, and completely navigate the culture of at least one English-dominant society. And thus, they will make better English as a second language or English as a foreign language teachers than non-native English speakers. As a result, non-native English speaking educators have found themselves often implicitly and sometimes explicitly discriminated against in hiring practices or in receiving working assignments in the fields of teaching ESL or EFL. But I have to say that when you just talk about working assignments, native English speakers may also feel they are treated in an unfair way as well. Because again, if you are a native speaker of English, you may be bombarded with lots of documents that you have to write reports, that this institute will just rely on you to teach more classes, to write reports as well. So I think this kind of discrimination, or this kind of whatever what we call discrimination, or what we call like unfairness, is everywhere. It's maybe not because of native or non-native, right? And this is one aspect only of this accent. Yeah. So however, as English language learners, non-native English speaking educators bring a uniquely valuable perspective. But of course, you should be well trained. Okay, you should be responsible. You should really know this teaching philosophy as well. It's not simply native or non-native as well, I would say. So uniquely valuable perspective to the ESL, EFL classroom, and so can closely identify with the cross-cultural and language learning experience that their students are experiencing. Research has shown that students do not have a clear preference for either native English-speaking educators or non-native English-speaking educators, but research has shown that students prefer native English educators, or students prefer non-native English educators as well. Anyway, so demonstrating that in general, students do not buy into the native speaker fallacy, hopefully just by some research, but students still do buy into this native speaker fallacy. I showed this one yesterday, that this is maybe, I would say, more implicit, right? More explicit. That if the different like Thai bahts per hour, they've got different categories of native, non-native, or even native European and Asian people, right? This is, I don't know, to some extent, it just regardless of your language level, and yeah, you see, is that true? To some extent, yeah, chai, yeah. And also, linguistic racism, there is a special issue. Yeah, publishing in the International Journal of Bilingual Education and Bilingualism, the Introduction to Special Issue. This is volume 23, number 7. The whole issue, the special issue on linguistic racism. Yeah. And also people argue this language and inequality. Okay, English is connected to social and economic inequalities, both within and between countries. English may indeed be fragmented, struggled over, resisted, rejected, diverse, broken, centrifugal, and even incommensurable with itself. The spread of English as a global language and the ever-growing use and sophistication of information and communication technologies have changed the nature and road of English to such an extent that one has to wonder whether we are talking about the same thing. So what do we mean by language use? So some scholars have implemented the global English as language teaching in different contexts, right? So the macro level, meso level, and micro level. But I think they're intertwined, they're moving with each other. So the understanding of language teachers' beliefs significantly facilitates teaching strategies, contributing to the development of foreign language learners' second language acquisition, okay? So I'm not going to, go to detail of different cases, but we know that people are doing this, especially from the 3 phases for global English teaching education. From the theory perspective, application perspective, evaluation perspective, okay? How teachers are trained to understand the theory of global Englishes, of English as a lingua franca, and how they apply the theory into their own contexts, to their local contexts. And at the end, how teachers evaluate the way, okay? So this one is in the context of Turkey, I think, yeah. There's another context. Yeah, people found the barriers include exam culture and resistance from parents, okay? Theory, application, evaluation as well. This one is the Japanese context. This one also follows the theory, application, evaluation context. Yeah. So learned implications of ELF, which they evaluated through practicing. Ooh, why my Siri goes out? It's called the learned implications of ELF, which they evaluated through practicing task-based learning and enabled both the student teachers and the teacher educators to reflect on and improve their pedagogical practices. This one is a context in Brazil. And this is a context in China, where a group of rural teachers in China went to Canada to have this teacher training experience. Yeah, maybe you can focus on teacher training in Thailand in a Thai context as well, right? So again, the ideology of native speakerism is there, the paucity of relevant materials and available curricula. Yeah, that's why the question is whether we have enough relevant materials. The very quick answer is no. Still, we have a long way to go, right? A need for bottom-up voices regarding teachers' own cognitive development, their awareness and challenges of implementing global Englishes and ELF pedagogy before, during, after teacher training. And also the gap between theory and practice cannot be ignored when student teachers teach the lessons. Some of the implications is the ELF mindset and also the strategies to raise global English's awareness and also textbooks development to empower local teachers and again, collaborative action between teachers and students. Okay. So just to share with you this paper that we proposed, three stages of ELF-aware teacher education. The first phase is prompting teachers to engage actively with issues relevant to language use and language learning, exploring the complexities of English medium communication in relation to learners' experience in using ELF. Second one, analyzing dilemmas of communication on their instructional practice and their overall perception of their roles as teachers of English. So third phase is engaging teachers in the development, implementation, and evaluation of action plans for classroom. Okay, I don't know if anyone would like to share if you have teaching experience. What type of challenges do you really encounter that you have this awareness of global Englishes, but you haven't really implemented global Englishes in your teaching? What type of challenges do you think this may have in your teaching context?
For me, that would be like the time constraint. Like in one course, we have the objective of the course, okay? And if we implement some kind of activity too much, we may not be able to cover everything that the student need to know before they take the final or the midterm exam. So the time constraint is one of the factors that is the challenge for us.
Yeah. I think thank you so much. For PhD program, right? You have a course called World Englishes or Global Englishes. But in Thailand, for example, for master program and undergrad program, do you have such courses?
Started to have, right?
Specifically, right? Okay, that's good.
But the objective or the content may not be exactly the same.
Of course. But at least we have these courses, right? Specifically designed. How about other universities, other contexts? Burapha, that's because Ajahn Tancha is there. Now, Burapha is very famous in Thailand with its global Englishes paradigm. This is courses, this program, yeah? Ajahn Wanapa as well. Okay.
Okay, in Chulalongkorn, we are in EIL program. Okay, there's also global.
Also, yeah. But the most successful program maybe in Thammasat, because today I'm in Thammasat, yeah. Yeah, but we are doing very well. Yeah, no problem. But how about in other contexts, like in China or in some like Myanmar? I don't know. If you would like to share something, or people online as well.
How about in native English native speaking country? Do they
This
have
is a good
global
question, yeah.
Englishes? Because they have to communicate with majority of people who were non-native speaker as well.
That's why for intercultural communication, they still have this privilege that they still expect. We have to follow their standards, and they just, I think very few courses in native speaking countries, they start to offer, because from our perspective, we say that there is no native speaker, that even traditional native speakers of English will learn the skills of intercultural communication, right? Accommodation, whether native speakers are willing to accommodate accents as well, everything. Oh, there is also that. Betty mentioned I studied global Englishes for my master degree, ABAC. Well, yeah, as well, right? It's an international university. That's why you like it already, yeah.
I think in the UK, I think Oxford and in Glasgow, for example.
Oxford, Glasgow. Yes. For those teachers or professors, they are aware of this. So they start to offer courses. Even in Southampton, there is a program, right, called English as a Global Language. Yeah, there's a master program on this. Someone also have the message. So I'm a graduate student from Shantou University of Technology, SUT, yeah. I found my few questions. Maybe I'll just answer this when I finish. Yeah, because okay. Oh, if I can share, how to distinguish between the cultural citizenship? Because this intercultural citizenship and global citizenship, we use interchangeably. We don't really distinguish there. Because we use global citizenship is at the beginning, we found that very few students understand intercultural citizenship. So from the perspective of the project, we didn't really see the difference, right, of global intercultural citizenship. We make a note there. Maybe some scholars see something different, but in this case, we didn't. EMI was choosing the context. Why you choose EMI? English medium instruction. One thing is because the project is funded by the British Council, and where English is there, and the funding was called from the ELTRA. It's called English Language Teaching Research Award. So English is there. And we chose China and UK as the research context, because in the UK, English is used as a medium of instruction. Even some scholars will say that EMI simply refers to the context where English is not the majority, right? It's not the major use of English, but we just make it in a more dynamic general way. So we just regard the UK, it's also EMI context. China, we just selected students who have experience taking EMI courses, right? So that's why we use EMI as a research context. My opinion, what factors contribute? Oh, yeah. So based on the study, we will say language is important. So you cannot only speak English as a foreign language, but you cannot, you should also know English, right? So English is important, but English is one of the resources that play a role. So I think language is the factors, one of the key factors contributing to one's intercultural global citizenship, but not the only factors. I think for individuals, we also need to see personality level. Right? Because if you don't communicate with people, you just lock yourself into a room, you just finish the assignment, you just read, you can still get a degree. So I would say that study abroad is one channel, but personality, even if you don't study abroad, You develop your skills of English, for example, various other linguistic resources. Talk to people, communicate with people. I think for individuals, personality is another factor that may contribute to global citizenship. But I think that when we say English is not the only way, when we say study abroad is not the only way. Without English, without studying and living abroad, without traveling, I would say that it's still very hard for people to develop this kind of global citizenship. Yeah, and also like psychology, my personality, being open-minded, being engaged with other people, might be there are factors. Yeah, I think at the moment those just come across in my mind. Yeah, so that is the question. I don't know. I hope that I answer this question. But go back, right? We see this global Englishes, teacher education. Okay, no problem. Thank you. So teachers education as well. That we may face various challenges, right? So what you just mentioned is what's the challenges you have? Teacher education. Time constraint, yeah. So again, if we don't have certain courses focusing on global Englishes, if we just teach general courses, it might be difficult, yeah, for teachers to just, implement a lot of those components. Maybe we can design several activities during a semester, but it's very difficult to do this because of the time as well. So if we design a course like this, it might help. And the course of global Englishes and intercultural communication. I know that in Southampton, Will Baker is teaching a course on intercultural communication. So such, the elements, contents have been included in the courses already. So the teaching issues, again, we need to think about what exactly is a linguistic error, right? What criteria, do I see to define it? In what ways that my view relate to current realities in area of communication? Okay, how have I formulated this view of a linguistic error? So again, it's a self-reflection. How appropriate and relevant are the criteria I have used? Yeah, and why I have formulated the view, whether it relates to my educational background, my teaching context, my social environment, and the dominant ELT ideologies. Okay, so this is the book of Critical Applied Linguistics, and also Spotsky, that's already published, yeah, in educational linguistics. And also, we also published a paper in ILA Review that's developing ELF research for critical language education, yeah. Kogomi and the colleagues there. So I think, yeah, thank you. Valentin also make a comment here that the major problem of implementing the global English's perspective in English curricula is the lack of debate outside academia. Yes, that's another very, very good point. That's another good point. Yeah, if people need it, right? About the global social linguistic complexity and English and how the use of English affects people's lives, experiences, and personal lives. Yes. Again, we don't want to impose this ideology and this way of teaching to people. We still need to see the people's different needs and if they really need global Englishes as well. So looking inwards is that teachers should learn to foreground their prior beliefs through self-reflection, teacher engagement, sharing with teaching choices, beliefs. Looking around, teachers should stay informed about the social linguistic landscape, teaching English as a global language, developing instructional sequences, lesson adaptations, policies, and tests that make sense of GEL curriculum innovation, and also to suit the local context, contextualization. Looking forward is that teachers integrate GEL principles in lesson design and implementation that suits their own teaching context. For equitable multilingual education is that language choice and language use from an ecological perspective, English as a global language, use of English in academic settings, specific purposes, for general purposes, and life experience as well for, survival purposes. Communication. Yeah, national language, use of the national language for citizenship, local minority languages as well, various resources, recognizing translanguaging practices for equitable education. So this paper, Global Englishes and Teacher Education, Present Cases and Future Directions, that I wrote with my students, that it can be also like a reference. By advocating the inclusion of GLT in TESOL practitioner education courses, we are not suggesting abolishing current content, but wish to encourage a critical examination of this through a global English's lens. Okay, I think that's from me. I also saw the raise the hand, right? I think who's raising the hand from the participants? Do we want to say something? Yeah, what do we do this? Allow. Yeah, please, Valentin, if you want to say something.
Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, Professor Fang, thanks a lot for the insightful presentation. Unfortunately, I joined late, but I found it very insightful. And it's actually related to my research. I'm comparing native and non-native speakers from the perspectives of Thai, South Korean, and Chinese university students. So it's something that has really shaped my interest and passion for research. And actually, what my opinion is that very often in terms of intercultural awareness, we make the mistake that we always focus on the students. We always think about what the students need to know. And I think future research and the future steps should take into consideration what we do in order to change teachers' opinions, perspectives, beliefs about the role of global Englishes. And I have seen lots of teachers back in Thailand where I used to teach, where when they start teaching, they have certain beliefs about what they should do in the classroom and what they should teach. And after having spent maybe a few years in Thailand, they change their perspectives. For example, they start abandoning the native speaker model. They start adjusting their strategies to teaching local students. They focus more on intelligibility, or they start appreciating the whole issue of intelligibility. They even adjust their linguistic repertoire to the accents and pronunciation models of the local speakers. But this wouldn't have happened unless teachers have had experiences teaching in those local contexts. And I think going backwards, this is what we need to focus on. We need to basically educate, inform teachers before they start teaching about all those different features and varieties of local Englishes, and of course the role of culture in shaping people's linguistic repertoire. And we also need to examine teachers' epistemological beliefs about the value of language and what the purpose of language education in general is. And sometimes I think that this is the mistake that we often make, that we focus on the students. Very often students copy what teachers do. And we need to start changing teachers' perspectives in order to change students' perspectives. And I can see the big difference. For example, I used to be in Thailand, where the global Englishes movement is very much alive, and it has gained momentum. Right now I'm in Korea, and even here people talk about global Englishes, but still on an institutional level, on political level, and then on cultural level, we go back to square one. You have to be a native speaker in order to teach the language. And right now, for example, I'm here as a South African citizen, not as a Bulgarian citizen. In a way, I'm lucky to be teaching the language. So this makes me think that there hasn't been so much progress made in the field. And this is my second point. I think that we need to widen the debate outside of academia. There should be also changes taking place at the institutional level, political level, in order to raise teachers and students intercultural awareness of the global spread of language. Thanks.
Yes, thank you very much for the very insightful comments, and I definitely fully agree with you that we really need to go beyond this institutional level to go above to this policy and political level, etc. But sometimes it's not really easy, especially many Asian contexts. I think for more research, for more application, and more voices, right? So hopefully this understanding and also this kind of proposal will be heard by this wider majority of wider people who can really turn this policy down to the institutional level and to the majority of people who really need this type of global English's mindset and this global English's concepts into the real teaching, and also change this current situation instead of really lip service, right? Yeah, thank you.
There any other question from the floor? Any other question from online?
Yes, please. May I add one more question, please?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me, Professor?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. I have a confusion. Actually, I'm in a program of cultivating Chinese students intercultural communicative competence in a general university. General university here means non-985, non-211, double classes universities. It's just a general university located in Southwest China. So when compared to the North or the East, the economic is not that developed. And it means that the students' exposure chance to intercultural communicative competence will be quite limited when compared to their counterparts in these universities in the East area. So in my program, I'm trying to help students, to train students in the cultural communicative competence. But I found a dilemma that maybe in a decade ago, we have a phrase like Chinese culture aphasia, which means that students are really keen on Western cultures. For example, they know the Hollywood movies. They are crazy for Hollywood stars. They don't know the history, artists of China, something like this. So they believe in another culture is better than the local culture. This is a decade ago. But now I found the dilemma is it switched to another direction here because of some of the policy, for example, the internet assessment, something like that. So actually in the classroom, if we ask students, do you know the movie, or do you know the anything relating to the culture, the source culture, the culture from the source countries. For example, source country is any country outside of China. So when students are asked about this question, they don't know. These days, it's quite difficult for them to know another cultures. That's my confusion and the dilemma right now in my class, because I'm trying to help them believe that Chinese culture and another culture have its uniqueness. Every culture deserves to be respected, to learn. But for right now, in the reality class, it's very difficult to have the teaching content or any like multimedia, multi-sources movies to show them from different angles to show them what another culture look like. So this is my dilemma. But I hope I can keep going on this program, and I'm wondering if you could give me like some tips. How can I make it more
Of course.
progress?
Thank you for the question. I think I know what you mean. I think now the technology really develops reasonably. People should have gain like more access to resources. But we understand some of the certainly other policies whatsoever. But I think for teachers, we still have agency. We can still select certain materials for students. For example, video clips, for example, from the multimedia. I think I felt something similar is that not because maybe, I guess, the students are not interested in other cultures. They are still interested. Yeah, and I think students have more access compared to us, to teachers. I think probably one reason is that we are getting to a certain age and we don't really understand really students' needs because the younger generation, they have their special needs and special interests. I think one thing is that for teachers, we need to talk to them, communicate with them more, maybe outside of class, to understand, to know what their really the interests are. For example, like recently, I'm in Thailand and people say, have you been to Chinatown? Now, Chinatown in Thailand is very popular because of Lisa's MV. And I say, whoa, who is Lisa? I've got no idea who Lisa is, but maybe young people, they know who Lisa is, right? I'm sorry, Lisa. So then now I think I should learn more. I should go to Chinatown to get, more exposure to understand local culture, Thai culture. In this way, it's also a type of interaction. And I think this is another way to, get closer to the younger generation, to young kids. We know their taste. They are interested in communication, the cultural communication, but probably through different ways of what we were as when we were students, right? I think this is another way of learning, another way of assessment as well. I think, yeah. You can still keep this program, of course, but probably better understand the different needs, different ways. And still as teachers, we still have agency that we find various resources, various medias, clips. We can invite people to do online talks. We can share lots of stories with the students. And we've got opportunities if we understand maybe it's in a remote area, right? But if students cannot really go out abroad, maybe if we see opportunity that we can invite people go to the fields or maybe go to your university to share their experience. I think gradually students develop this awareness. They may continue with their education. One day they can jump out of this context. In the future, they get more exposure, they have experience. I think, again, it will benefit themselves for the future. That's something what I can think about. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you for your suggestion and recommendations.
Thank you for your question too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. LITU. Okay, so I think that will be the slide right on the screen. So please stay tuned.
The host will share the screen, yeah?
Yes. Okay, so the next public talk, this is for free, okay, free of charge. It's about the AI assisted language learning. Yes, this one is also free. Yeah, innovative approaches for English proficiency and critical thinking skill. It will be held on July 19 at 9:30 to 12:30 6:30 Bangkok time zone. Okay, and the professor here is a speaker, Dr. Lucas, okay, Kong something, and from the Education University of Hong Kong. Okay, so you can scan the QR code for the registration. Okay, and this one will be hybrid. Okay, both online and on site. Okay, so this is our next event. Don't miss this opportunity. Yes. Okay, and the next one, we are going to take a group photo together. So if you are online, you can turn on your camera and we're gonna take 3 shots together. And people on site, please gather in front of the class. We're gonna take a group photo.